ticking countdown on the screen. It is of no importance.
There's no
importance.
No,
we need
whatsoever.
We need brunch. Where brunch?
Well, where
today?
is brunch?
Branson, Missouri.
Today, Branson.
Happy lunch,
Happy brunch
Branson.
to everyone on this side of the Mississippi River. On the other side, you better watch out.
You better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better
Easterners.
watch out.
Oh, no.
Standard time.
You know what? I like Branson, Missouri. We're going to go with it.
All right.
Lord.
Okay, Riley, I need you to keep it together this episode because the second you start falling apart, I can't.
Come on, Riley.
You just had
hold
one
it
of those
together.
kind of days, dude.
You're the host.
It has been one of those days. I've been painting all day. I have paint fumes stuck in my head.
Oh, that's why. That's why.
You're the host, Riley.
Oh, yeah, I'm the host. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Brunch of Idiots podcast. My name is Riley. I am here with Jay,
Oh.
RJ,
Hello.
and Aiden.
I'm the permanent purple ringed one.
What
Is
is
it
that?
purple?
Oh, yeah, I guess it...
Oh, it
no,
is stuck.
That's weird.
I don't know if that translates into the.
It's been
Like
the
the
past,
recording,
like,
though.
I think
4
it's
episodes.
your...
For the
laptop
visual
fan.
listeners that won't ever see this.
Audio listeners, it's not the visuals.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about visual. Never mind.
Anyway, happy brunch to Branson, Missouri, because, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Does that make you feel special, Branson, Missouri? No special
Specific.
reasoning, just because, yes. It's okay. We love and appreciate
Look,
you.
I'm having a moment today. Okay.
Yeah?
Today's episode, the topic is, yeah, that's a great idea. Stories where you think you have a really good idea, but it was in fact a very bad idea. So one of the first ones that I can start with is we used to live in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. Aiden and I. And we were little kids when we lived in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. And we would regularly go and, like, once a quarter, go out onto the acreage that we owned. We owned, like, almost 10 acres at the time. And we would pick up all of the fallen limbs and branches, sticks, and put them in the burn pile so that Mom would have an easier time mowing and, like, not ruining the riding lawnmower with sticks. But I thought it would be a great idea because I was a very macho 6-year-old. I had to have been like 6 or 7. There was a cluster of cut in half railroad ties at the very edge of our property. And I thought, since we were getting ready to burn a big bonfire, at least in my little tiny kid head, it was a huge bonfire, that we needed the biggest piece of wood. I was in my Donald Trump brain era. I needed the best piece of wood.
It's gonna
We're
be
going to get the
huge.
biggest piece of wood we could find. It's going to be great. It's probably going to be the greatest piece of wood anyone could have
That's
hoped
what
for.
other people
And you know
say.
what's
And that
great?
was
Is
exactly
we're going to
the-
make this campfire great again. It's going to be phenomenal.
That was the dialogue that was going on in, you know, little 6-year-old Riley's head. And so I went and got one of those half railroad ties and started flipping it end over end. This thing was as long, if not longer, than me, right? It had to have been at least 50 pounds heavier than me. I was essentially doing, like, tire flips with it across our entire property. I got about halfway to the bonfire when my dad stopped me. And he looked at me and he was like, "Riley, what do you have?" Of course, he knew what I had. It's a railroad tie.
Oh no.
And I was like, I found this giant stick, essentially. And my dad was like, no, Riley, that's not what we need. That we can't burn that. You have to go and put it back. Mind you, I am, drenched in sweat from my tiny human endeavors, right? So I have to go and I have to put this railroad tie back. After all of that effort, it was the worst thing ever. That was a brilliant idea in Tiny Riley's head. But
Nothing like determination, sweat, and the willpower of man to get shot down by another man.
that was exactly what happened. My hubris got the better of me. So does
these
anybody
things
else have
happen.
stories like that?
I have a similar one, kind of, not really, having to do with the great outdoors.
Ooh.
It wasn't really my idea, but it was a idea. So I used to be a part of the Boy Scouts. And at one point in time, we were out on this camping trip. And the fellas decided that it would be a good idea to play manhunt at night without lights in the woods, which is basically just hide and seek in the dark. But it can be extremely dangerous because if you can't see where you're going, you could trip over like a bush or a log, or run into a snake or a tree or whatever the case may be. It's not the safest thing, but the whole point is to be stealthy so you don't use your flashlight. Anyway, so I went to go and find a nice little hiding spot, and I popped a squat. Is it Papa squat or Papa squat? I always
thought
said
it was
pop.
Papa squat.
It's pop and then a squat. It's not Papa squat. There's no father. named
Papa's
Squat.
done squat
Hold
again.
on, we're
I can
getting to
smell
that
it.
part. We're
Oh,
getting
okay,
there.
Okay, we're gonna get to father squat.
Foreshadowing.
Everybody.
So
Oh no.
I popped the squat out in
Reverend
the woods,
squat.
not thinking anything was wrong, until I stood up, and I started feeling something weird in my pants, in my butt region.
Oh no.
Come to find out, I had dangled my poop chute over a cactus
Oh no.
and
I
got
thought
tens of needles,
Oh no.
if not hundreds,
Betrayed
all
by the
on
good
my butt.
reverend.
and they got through all the layers and were stuck in everything. And so I had to
Oh.
waddle back to the camp to find my dad, who then had to, in the dark, go behind a tent with a flashlight in his mouth and pick all the needles out of my butt. And then,
Oh no.
come to find out, that wasn't enough because they were also in my pants and also in my underwear. But we were on the final stretch of this camping trip, and I didn't have another set of underwear. So I had to commando it for the rest of the camping trip. And it was not a fun experience, but I mean, me and my dad bonded over that, and we're both slightly traumatized, but we have a good laugh about it every now and then when it comes up. But, yeah, be
good
careful
luck.
when
needle
playing around in the
cheeks.
dark.
Be careful around
Needle
Reverend
cheeks.
Squat.
Yeah,
Sovereign squat.
Yeah. Don't squat
Papa
over
squat
a
will get
cactus.
ya.
And...
well, I didn't know there was a cactus there. I couldn't see. I didn't think to look for cacti.
I thought that was going to go in a very
valid.
different direction from the way you were describing it. I thought it was going to be poison ivy or something, but no.
No,
I genuinely
luckily,
thought a snake crawled up your pants.
luckily, I've
I've had
never
that
had
happen.
any run-ins with like poisonous plants other than like stinging nettle, but also animals. I was very lucky in that I never ran into any animals. Now I will say, on a different camping trip, a couple of the guys decided, because they found a skunk in the woods.
Oh no.
And so they thought the best course of action would be to poke at it with a stick.
Oh yeah, because that's smart.
Yeah,
That's a
and
great idea.
the scoutmaster was like, "Hey, that's really dumb." And they're like, "Well, it's a long stick, though." Okay,
It's a long
and so he had to explain to
stick.
them how far a skunk can spray. Luckily, they didn't get
goodness.
sprayed, but that would have been a very different camping trip if they had been.
Oh no.
Gotta go and find a Dollar General and buy them all out of their tomato juice.
Yeah,
Why do you
Everybody's
need all
getting
this tomato
V8
juice for? No reason.
no reason.
No reason.
So this reminds me of this isn't my story. I was not the one who's like, great idea. But I do know the person in the story. The pastor's daughter at my parents' church was hanging out with some friends of hers from college at like a park or something. And her family like lives out in the countryside, so they're used to seeing like all sorts of snakes and stuff all the time. And her parents have raised her to, not be like afraid of them at all or anything. So she sees a snake while she's at this park with her college friends, and she's like, "I'm gonna go pick it up," without IDing the snake first.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Little
She
did
wa-
I know it was actually solid snake.
Snake. Anyway, she walks up to this thing. She goes to pick it up, and it turns out it's a copperhead.
Oh
Tags
no!
her in the
Oh.
hand, and has to go to the
That's-
hospital get anti-venom. She's fine. No, like lost limbs or fingers or anything. But this
Yeah,
is
that
why
was a
you
great
always.
idea.
This is why
That
you
was
always
successful.
ID the snake. If you don't know what it is, before you pick it up, don't pick it up. If you can't figure out what it
Yes.
is, don't touch
Snakes, bugs, plants, don't touch them before you've ID'd them.
Even if
beg
you
of them.
have ID'd them, get a second opinion. If
Yeah,
you
don't be like
can.
Uncle Iroh, doing a 50-50 with what could either be delicious tea or horrible poison. Get some help.
Yeah, stop it. Get some help.
Get some help.
Get some tea.
On the track of the outdoors, this one actually just popped into my head. So it also involves a fire, and this is kind of a great idea.
Oh, I know this.
Back when we lived in Oklahoma, there was this really old, like, so run down that it was dangerous, wooden playground that the last people that owned the place built. And we played on it for a little while until, like, it got really dangerous, So our mom decides, hey, most of it's made of wood, let's just cut it down and put it in the fire, and we'll
Our
just throw
family
away the
likes
rest.
fire.
We like fire. Yeah, maybe keep lightable things away from us if they have to be thrown away, or else we're just gonna go like, bonfire.
Fuego.
Fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Más fuego.
Más fuego. So we're all standing there happy with what we've done. A very safe, mind you, bonfire, because we've done this so many times.
We
Ever
have
since
a
we were
system.
children.
Yes.
We building bonfires since 1990 whatever. Anyhow, we look at, there's a ceramic slide, not ceramic,
Not
oh
ceramic.
goodness.
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass, thank you.
Oh,
There's this fiberglass
no.
slide that's also very worn down, and my sister, myself, my mom, kind of look at each other, and we're like, "You thinking what I'm thinking? Let's put it on
Fiberglass
the
is
fire."
flammable, right?
Oh,
What could possibly
no.
go wrong?
So many things.
Great idea. We won't even need a dumpster. So we throw it into the fire.
cast it into the fire.
And the only people
Try.
that could have done it without any temptation. um, so we're all standing there looking very proud of what we did for like a minute. And then it got really bad.
It started melting
and
and was on fire
erupting.
at the same time.
It burned very hot. It started catching some of the bare patches of ground on fire around.
Like, not even the grass. It was the dirt that was catching on fire.
Just turned into fiberglass napalm.
Yes!
Pretty much. That's what we did. War crimes with fiberglass, am I right? So, we control the fire. I'm not going to tell you how. That's for another episode. But we do control the fire. And I think by about the end of it, our neighbor comes over.
On his four-wheeler.
Like, yeah, on his four-wheeler, because he saw the smoke and he thought, oh no.
He thought our house was on fire. Yeah.
I have to go save them. He was a very sweet man. But yeah, don't put fiberglass in your bonfire, ever.
What do y'all mean? It was a fantastic idea. We got rid of the fiberglass slide.
We did
had
get
a
rid
great
of it.
time playing
It
with
was
fire.
a great idea.
Kids, this is a science experience. No, we do not.
Well,
Trees who need them. We have fire.
Have y'all ever worked with just bare fiberglass?
oh, it's horrible.
I've not worked with it.
Always
but-
with gloves.
It's nasty business. So I used to work. This is not really related. It's just that y'all were talking about fiberglass. It kind of ties into my story. I used to work at an amusement park that shall remain unnamed for, I don't know, legal reasons, I guess. And I worked one of the rides, and one of the things we had to use were like long fiberglass poles. And we would use those to like catch the riders whenever they came down. So we would like hook them in. So it was like kind of like this, like a long fiberglass pole with a hook on the end. And we were supposed to have gloves, and I'm very picky about things on my hands, like gloves. And I didn't like the ones that they had there, so I got my own. And some days I would forget to bring them with me to work. And so instead of using the ones they had there, I just decided to just
oh, no.
grab it.
And
And the thing is they had handles. They had like rubber handles on the end, but sometimes you needed to like have your hands like wider, like one hand further up the pole, but also like the like handles were worn because they were kind of old, and you know they'd sit in the heat all day, and so like the adhesive would melt, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, if you haven't worked with fiberglass before, if you touch it with your bare hands, it leaves a lot of splinters, like thousands of tiny invisible splinters. And it's kind of like being stuck by a cactus, but worse because they're tiny and invisible.
Yeah.
So
You essentially just have to soak
to kill a cockroach.
your hands.
yeah, one thing I ended up doing too was using like duct tape. I would put it on my hands and then peel it off. And then I saw another person recommended using like glue, like cover your hand in like
Like
school glue.
Elmer's.
Oh,
Yeah, letting it dry and then peeling it off, and that's supposed to help. And I eventually got it all out, but it was one of those things where it was a very quick lesson.
Never do that again.
Yeah, I have a similar fiberglass story, if you don't mind.
Oh.
So, not necessarily just my hands, though. Anyway, we'll start from the beginning. The very best place to start. I'm at work with one of my coworkers, because, you know, what else will you be doing with people? And I work at an airport. So we have these huge, like, shipping containers that we use we load them into planes. And these shipping containers made of a couple different materials, but a handful of them are old ones that are made out of fiberglass that have just been baking in the sun, having like just abused fiberglass shipping containers, basically. So we're trying to get one of these into the plane, right? We're like jumping on it, trying to get it to go in the thing properly. It's not fitting. So we're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get up on top of it to weigh it down to get it to slot into place
Oh
properly.
no.
So I'm in jeans and short sleeves. My coworker is in basically the opposite. He's in long sleeves and shorts.
Oh.
So we're like crawling around on the top of this thing, like trying to get it to like slit down into place, settle in properly, and eventually we do. But we get down off the top of it, and we realize that this isn't like there's nothing over top of this fiberglass. It's just bare fiberglass on the top of it. So I got lucky in that it's only my arms, right? And you're probably thinking like, oh, that's lucky. I'm like, yes, because he got it all over his legs, and then he also got it under his shirt because like his shirt rode up while he was up there.
Oh no.
So he went home like 30 minutes early because he's like, I cannot go the
So
rest of
many
the day like this.
lacerations. Ugh.
So he's got it like on his legs and under his shirt. I went home with my dad that day because my car wasn't working properly. So I'm like sitting with like my arms hovering above like the armrests in like the seat because I don't want to get fiberglass in the car.
Ugh.
Yeah. That's always the worst is whenever it spreads.
Yep. Yep.
Remember, kids, your word of the day. Wait, no, I'll do that later.
Oh. I was going
Wait
to say,
till
don't we have a whole segment for that?
Yeah,
We do.
Wait till the end, y'all.
We
Wait
have
till the
many
end.
words.
I've been recording. Don't worry.
Oh,
Fiberglass again. Fiberglass.
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 Cactus Needles, fiberglass.
This episode is titled "Fiberglass."
Today's episode is
So,
sponsored by Fiberglass.
I have a
Fiberglass.
story.
It's annoying.
That kind of jumps off of RJ's first story.
Oh.
Oh no.
And also ties into my first story.
No?
Except I was very much an adult. This was a year ago, right?
Oh.
So, setting the scene. My parents' homestead, right? So, there's a main house, and then there's like a big warehouse-ish building right next to it, just to the right. And my mom's art studio is there. My mom needed a long, straight stick for a project she was working on. And they're on like 7 acres of land. So you would think, oh, there's got to be a long, straight stick somewhere on their property. So my mom sends me out. She's like, Riley, I need you to find me a 6-foot long, straight stick. And so I backyardigans into the thick of it my way out the door, right? I traipse all over their property. I find literally just an entire spine and pelvis of a deer. I find, all sorts of things. I have not found a 6-foot long straight stick. It's been almost an hour at this point, right? So I think, oh, I'll just traipse through the underbrush around their little fish pond, and maybe I will find something on the other side of the fish pond. There are no trees on the other side of the fish pond. I'm just wishful thinking at this point. But I still decide to traipse around the underbrush of the fish pond. I'm 3 feet in, and I realize there are, I believe, no, they're not called goat's head stickers. It is like inch-long pronged seeds that
Ow.
are almost like cactus spikes, but not, because they're attached to bushes, right? And they have attached themselves to my sweatpants. Why am I wearing sweatpants and not jeans? I don't know. I'm stupid. So, I could, at this point, turn around. However, I have decided, in for a penny, we're going to continue to press forward into more of these plants that have the pronged seeds.
What did you decide? Hello?
Hello?
Really?
Hello? Hello?
Aiden?
Am I
Hello?
here?
What?
Can you hear me?
cut out right after you said, I decided.
I decided, in for a penny, right? I'm just going to continue to press forward into these bushes with more of these pronged seeds.
That's like
Instead of going around the pond the other way.
Oh no.
Because I'm already this far. So I go around the pond. By the end of it, I have quite literally thousands of these little seeds all over my legs, in my shoes, on my shirt. Like, because it went up just, like, right past my belly button, you know?
God.
And what do you know? Still no stick! Which was my primary objective, BT dubs. So I walk back up to the house. It's been an hour and 30 minutes at this point. My mom was just about to call me. She thought something happened to me because I had been gone for so long trying to find a stick. So I waddle into her studio and she looks at me one glance and she's like, I can't look at you. You're too stupid. You are too stupid right now. And it takes 30 minutes to pick all of the little prongs off of me. And then, after that, she walks out of her studio to our other burn pile, which we do have, force of habit. And there is a 6-foot-long straight stick right there! Right outside of her studio.
No. You can map out where a family's been by burn piles.
That is
breaking news.
Yeah, that was a great idea. It was fantastic.
That is so deeply unfortunate.
Literally
In so many ways.
I made so many bad decisions in a row that my mom almost sent me home.
That's enough out of you.
I can't do this with you anymore today.
I can imagine, which I know coming from me sounds strange. I can imagine the face that your mom made when you walked back in. It's like the. Oh.
Oh man.
You're not wrong. It's the face I would make at myself, honestly, because
You make that face at me
Where
all
was
the
my
time.
brain? I know.
Jay is very familiar with this face.
I am, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, I did manage to pick that face up from my mom.
Yeah, it
It's a
happens.
good face, though.
I have an interesting one.
Yes.
College.
Oh no.
College. All right.
The end. I mean, he ain't wrong.
I'm joking.
Oh.
No, that's it.
No, that's about my experience too. Let's
I
be
think
real.
that's 3 out of the 4 of us.
Yeah.
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 Trade
Oh.
school.
Yeah. Well, trade school is smart, in my opinion. Anyway, we're not going to get into all that. Anyway, yeah, no,
Wrong
that was it. I wanted to.
That's another
throw that out
episode.
there.
No, that's so true, though.
That is a funny joke.
I'm
I
having a
have
hard time
something-
thinking of them though, because you would think, right? Because so I grew up very outdoorsy, and I was homeschooled, so I had a lot of time, to mess around and do stupid stuff. And you would think, me being a dude, I would have more of those moments where like, oh, surely this will work out, and then catastrophically injure myself or something. But like, I actually don't have a lot of those stories.
No, that's fair.
A lot of mine are me going, "Oh, this will be fine," and then like it's fine after like turbulence for like a while.
Yeah.
I have one. Speaking of academics, that technically I did not get punished for. That is out of just sheer ability to do improv. Public speaking class had that years back. And unknown to my teacher to this day, I was actually a pretty bad student because all my stuff was last minute. The problem was, she never recognized it to ever be last minute because I'm good off the cuff for a good amount at least. So it at least looks like that I've been practicing over at least a week or something, you know.
Aiden's very good at BSing his public speaking.
Fairly good at it. So in my second year of it, and I was in a class full of first years, and Riley. Sorry, Riley.
That's okay.
I had to do tall tale. And unlike the usual times where I just wait until like the night before, because I had actually forgotten which day it was to do it. I remembered right before going to bed, the night before I actually had to do the tall tale. So I was supposed to be asleep, but I spent 3 hours reading and rereading Paul Bunyan. And on the morning of that class, I go up to my mom, who has no knowledge of this, by the way. She doesn't know that I had anything. And she didn't know that I had spent 3 hours last night reading Paul Bunyan and rereading Paul Bunyan either. So I walk up to my mom. It's in October. It's closer to Halloween. I go, "Hey, Mom, what does a lumberjack dress up like?" And she thought it was for Halloween. What a nice thought. She said, "Oh, you gonna be a lumberjack for Halloween? We could fashion up something." And I say, "No, I have a tall tale speech this morning." And that
I didn't.
for those that know my mom, that's all it took. She was so mad.
Oh,
Rightfully
Yeah.
so, because I hadn't done anything of preparation in her mind. Not even the 3 hours of reading that I did.
Oh.
So, I also think I went to sleep listening to an audio thing of Paul Bunyan because I was so paranoid. So, I read the story 2 more times that morning as I got very hurriedly dressed up like a lumberjack. Riley was also very mad at me for not taking it seriously. And she'll be even more mad later. My mom, she says, if you get anything lower than an A minus, I will have your hide. Essentially, like, have my hide mounted on a wall.
Yes.
If you remember the old fun cartoons. So then I went and I did the tall tale, and my teacher loved it so much that she had me stay for the other second year's class to show me off to them for how well it was, how executed it had been. I obviously had prepared for weeks on it. It was one of my greatest speeches.
He graduated with her thinking that.
Yes.
I was livid
So I
because
got
I would
an
spend
A plus.
weeks on a project, and all she would do is nitpick me from the way that I dressed to the way that I delivered my speech. And then Aiden walks in there with a combined total of 7 hours of practice and a flannel shirt, and he gets an A plus. I'm still mad. It's been like almost a decade, and I'm still mad.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah, so if you're good at improv, you're probably good at public speaking. That's what I'm trying to say.
But please, if you're in school and you're listening to this, don't try it.
Don't do this.
Don't do this.
That was the most stressful time in my life. I hated it, and I don't want to repeat it.
Aiden almost died.
Twice.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was a fun one. I do have another one based off of Riley's anger, but I will give the floor to someone else.
No, I'm ready to hear your other one.
I'm kind of curious now.
You got me, yeah.
Jay, you should know this pretty well because it's both of us.
Oh.
Yes. So there's a game. It is a ragdoll puzzle game called
it's
Human
this.
Fall Flat. It's a very frustrating
Oh,
but it can be
no.
very funny. And we thought, what a great idea. We should play this chill game when it's so close to midnight and way past all of our regular bedtimes at that point. I say at that point because, we were still in high school and such.
Yep.
So here we are playing this game. And we get stuck on a part of the level where we needed a barrel. We actually needed a couple of barrels, I think. We would need to get them on this ramp, roll them off the ramp and onto another spot where someone else had to catch the barrel or else it would roll off the map. And then place the barrel next to a wall that we had to get over. And we were struggling very hard on it. And I don't know if this was in Jay's idea. I feel like Jay was just playing along. But I had the lovely idea of lightening the mood with some good old humor. So we started going off on, we put on this voice, and it was like, oh yeah, we barrel rollers.
We barrel rollers.
Roll these barrels down this ramp for the past 100 years.
When I was your age, we barrel rollers. And we were like this for 15 minutes, half an hour, something absurd.
Somewhere
far
along
too
those
long.
lines. But, we just kept failing. Probably because we were making ourselves laugh, the two of us. Also, being tired didn't help.
The two of
Then
us
there
were
was
so
poor
slap happy.
Riley.
I was so mad.
The mood did not lighten. The mood did not lighten at all, everyone.
Not for Riley.
Riley got so mad because she wasn't in on the joke that we were doing. She didn't know we were just trying to lighten humor, but we were still trying to do the puzzle.
I thought they had thrown everything away and were doing everything they possibly could to keep me from solving the puzzle and leaving the
She
map.
legitimately thought we were sabotaging. Riley and I were in the same room, too, so...
I was legitimately
Eventually,
so
Riley
angry.
erupted because that was a great idea that we did. She
Nothing
loved our
bad
idea
can
so
happen
much
at all.
that she erupted. And I had another, it was a great idea on top of a great idea, so I know how to cheese that game in certain areas and not need the mechanics required to pass the level.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I thought it was also a great idea afterwards to go ahead and finish it myself so that we could all get past this horrible nightmare And that didn't go so well.
As I'm climbing up the last bit of this godforsaken tower, I just see Aiden coming from the wrong side, rising up from what should be the dead. And I'm over here thinking, this man could have finished this entire time. He was taunting me. That's what I thought. And so
I don't think
I
we spoke
was
for the rest of the night.
I couldn't even look at him. I was shaking. I was so angry. It was so bad.
Meanwhile, from my perspective, I'm sitting over here. I can tell things are tense, right? But I'm like on the other side of like multiple cities
Yes.
from where they are. And I'm like more or less oblivious to what's going on. I'm just like, so.
We barrel rollers.
We barrel rollers.
And Jay is so lucky that we're not inside our house. I would have smacked the both of you. Oh.
I don't know how you didn't smack me. I guess it's that sibling love.
Mostly because I didn't want to look at you, honestly.
I've become so disgusting.
You were saved from the anger by the anger, Aiden.
Oh, man.
Oh,
so,
man.
if you want Riley mad at you, make her think that you're sabotaging her progress.
Yeah.
And then do the thing that you were trying to do before she gets to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a surefire way to, at the very least, take me off just a little bit.
You know, I can tell you, it was a great idea.
Oh, speaking of anger.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So, I was like, I don't remember how. I think it was early double digits, maybe 10-ish, maybe younger than that, maybe 6 or 7. I had gotten into an argument with my parents as like a kid, and they're like, "Go to your room," right? I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I'm like, "Let me go to the bathroom first," but I am pissed at whatever happened before this. So I slammed the door to the bathroom. On the same wall that door is on, like the wall that door's a part of, there is a cuckoo clock
Oh no.
that was my
Oh, no.
grandfather's.
Oh no.
It was like one of my mom's last living memories of her dad. And it falls off the wall when I slam the door
Oh no.
and shatters. So not only are we both angry, but now this cuckoo clock is destroyed. It was not a good evening after that.
No.
It was
that-
so bad.
No.
It's one of those things where it's like, man, if I had just like been a little bit less angry, we wouldn't have had any issues. But no,
The all-consuming anger.
the all-consuming
That's so
anger
unfortunate.
consumed all. I think we still have some parts of it like laying around the house somewhere, but I don't.
I've gathered them all in one place. Behold, the one clock.
The one, the one clock. Oh no!
I have
Not the one clock.
kind of a strange one. I don't remember how old I was. So we have a little closet under the stairs that was kind of like the storm closet because my mom is very afraid of inclement weather, and there was like a tornado watch or something going on outside, and so we were kind of all waiting to, get the go ahead to hide in the closet. And I was in there by myself, and that's where we kept all our like 72-hour bags, with like food and like emergency stuff. And in one of the bags, there was a pocket knife. And this was, I think, either right before or like right at the beginning of when I was like getting into Boy Scouts, like coming out of Cub Scouts. So like I hadn't really dealt with knives before. And so I decided I was going to play with it. So I'd open it up and I was just kind of playing with it. And um, I think I was like being called out of the closet or something like that. And so I went to go close it and I didn't know how to properly close it. And it cut my thumb open pretty bad.
Oh,
But apparently the knife was really sharp and I didn't realize it at first. So I had gone outside and was just kind of doing whatever. And they're like, "Oh my, why are you bleeding so much?" I was like, "I don't know." It was really bad. I ended up having to get 2 stitches in my thumb. Um, so on top of the weather and everything going on, my dad had to take me to go get stitches at the emergency room. Um,
no.
and then later on, while it's still like healing and everything, before I had a chance to go and get my stitches removed, um, I was at the church I was at the time, and it was like before or after, and they were playing wall ball in the gym with a tennis ball, and I didn't think about it, and so I was playing, and apparently the tennis ball had ripped one of my stitches out
Oh no.
after I had like
Oh,
thrown it, and
man.
it didn't like rip through the skin or anything. It just came clean out. But I just like remember I had gone to like go wash my hands or something. I looked at it, I was like, huh, one of them is gone. That's weird. And then like the next week, I did the same thing and pulled the other one out.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh well, I guess they're gone. Okay,
At least you didn't need them
yeah, I guess
at that
I
point.
guess it would have been a lot worse if it was like early on. But like, I think I had kept it in a Band-Aid. Like I had a Band-Aid wrapped around it for a while or a bandage, so that wouldn't happen because it's on such an active part of your body.
Right.
But I don't remember. It was so long ago. But I just remember that the tennis ball ripped him out one at a time.
Gracious.
But yeah.
Yikes.
I've got
Oh,
what?
no, you go ahead. I've told a lot of them.
I was just gonna say I have one more, but I kind of figured I'd end the one on that one. So if you want to go one more.
I'll make it really quick. We were chunking stones down a hill because we thought that was a great idea. And then the neighbor kid threw a stone at the back of my head. I needed a staple. I tried to hide it because great idea. Don't want to get my friend in trouble. That didn't work. And now I probably have a staple scar back there somewhere. Can't tell.
Lord.
Don't chuck stones down large spaces, kids.
And
I
if your
forgot.
friend hit you with a rock, don't hide it from your mom.
Yeah.
What did you forget, RJ?
I forgot like the bad idea of that's a good ideas. So in high school, I was really into airsoft and I went by myself at one point. So my parents had like gone and dropped me off and I was just going to be there for like the morning or the afternoon or whatever. And I was playing, and at the time I had an airsoft gun it was powered by CO2 cartridges, and typically they're all pretty universal in how they actually load into the airsoft gun, but this one had like a really strange like seal mechanism. So like when you put the cartridge in it and then you like lock it in there, it punctures the cartridge and it's supposed to seal it so the gas is contained inside of it, and then it releases it every time you fire. But I didn't fully know how to use the seal.
Oh no.
So in between
Wow.
matches, I had to go and replace the CO2 cartridge because it was out. And I had finished it and I closed it up and whatever. And I was sitting there, I was waiting for the next game, and I thought I heard hissing. And I was like, huh, that's weird. So I put the thing up next to my ear to listen for the hissing.
No.
And it was in fact hissing, and I guess the like angle change, like me like moving it, was just enough to make it rupture. So it exploded, blew the seal off of
Oh.
the magazine, which luckily that didn't hit anyone because
Oh
that could have
no.
like put an eye out or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
so for the remainder of the day, I was deaf in my ears.
Oh
Um,
man.
like I
Uh,
could hear, but everything was like extremely muffled. Like I was listening through like a wall. So I had to like text my mom and I was like, "Hey, can you come pick me up? There was an accident and I can't hear." Um, and so of course naturally they came rushing over to pick me up, but it was funny because there were other people around and no one bothered to check on me or anything. They just kind of gave me like a glare for having
Making
this
such a loud
explosion.
noise. Yeah.
And
Oh
eventually my
no.
hearing returned. It took a day or two for the closest ear, which is my right ear. It took a couple of days for that one to fully um, recover, and it never did fully recover. I think I'm 90% sure I have permanent hearing damage in that ear. Um,
I mean, I can
but
only imagine.
yeah, it was bad. I mean, I got like shell shock too. Like, it was like a flashbang, like right next to my head, and I wasn't expecting it. So it was like a concussion grenade. It was bad. But yeah,
yikes.
so
Oh
that was
Lord.
another fun. I still love airsoft, but I can't. I don't know that I'm ready to trust the gas stuff yet.
I
Valid.
don't blame you.
I
Life
wouldn't
lessons for
either.
kids.
Be very careful when dealing with compressed gas or air or both.
Amen to that. Well, I've got one more.
Okay.
Uh, Aiden and I were driving down into like the middle of nowhere, Texas, to attend our grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. This was like 2 years ago, and I was still in my Scion IQ at the time. So little tiny car. It's like if a little tiny Fiat had a baby with a smart car. Is how I always described it. Um, and that thing was zippy. You could go pretty fast in it pretty quickly. It had great pickup. Um, but you couldn't really go over any sort of rough terrain in it because it was like 2 inches off the ground, right? Not actually, but you get the picture. And we were coming up on a railroad crossing where the railroad tracks were almost like on a ramp. They were elevated above the level of the road, so there was like a ramp to go up and over the railroad tracks, right? And I thought it would be the funnest thing ever to Dukes of Hazzard like jump off of the railroad rail.
This was an idea that Riley had in her head.
Yeah, I did
I
not have
wasn't
this
aware.
idea out loud. Aiden is, sitting in the passenger seat being, ambience man, picking out our soundtrack as we move right along. So I look over at Aiden and I say, what do I say, Aiden?
Oh, why does it leave my head?
I said, hold on, because I
That's
was
right,
gonna
yeah.
launch us. And then right after I say, hold on, I see this massive rock, like a head-sized rock, in the middle of the railroad tracks on the road. And I know that's going to take my car completely out. So I have to swerve out of the way in order to not hit it. So not only am I going fast enough to try to jump off of this ramp, I'm also in the middle of swerving. And poor Ada just about has a complete heart attack. The man's face turns completely white. He's sitting about 3 inches taller because his butt cheeks are clenched together like he's gonna die. Right?
Oh.
Yeah, so
We-
from my perspective, I'm sitting there picking music, and within the span of a second, it's, hold on! And I go, what? And then she goes, "Oh crap!" I go, "What?" And then swerve, "What?" And then we still kick it over the railroad.
And so we land safely, and I slow down quite a bit just to take stock and make sure my car isn't like dying actively. And Aiden just looks over at me and he's like, "Why would you do that to me?" It was fantastic. I will never do anything like that again. It was a great idea.
Was it?
It was. It was a fantastic idea, in theory.
And nothing could go wrong.
Oh no, it all went wrong.
It was really bad. Oh, yeah. Great ideas.
Would you like to know what these great ideas were brought to you by?
I would
Yes,
love for you
please.
to give us our words of the day.
All right. The great ideas of this episode were brought to you by The Will of Man, Papa Squat, Snake, Fuego, Fiberglass, Lacerations, Stick, I'm Stupid, College, The Anger, Rocks, and Lessons for Kids. Thanks for listening.
Lessons for kids.
Papa Squat. Is
The
it
good
spelled
Reverend.
Papa?
It's spelled Papa.
P-A-P-P-A, Papa Squad.
Papa Squat.
This is gonna be our
Oh.
first shirt, y'all.
Papa Squat.
Oh man, can we use my face for the
We'll just make you really
for the
old looking.
Reverend? Yes.
I think it would be funnier to do RJ though, since RJ
That is true. It's RJ's story. Would Papa Squat hold a cactus then?
Yes.
I need to get you a cactus.
All right. Thank you all for listening to a Brunch of Idiots podcast. Again, happy brunch to Branson, Missouri, because yes. And we will see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Happy brunch.
Happy brunch.